Pawanji, it has just started. Recording has just started. You can now go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay. Thank you. So we have Pawan Kumar ji. Normally, it happens that the master of ceremony introduces him. Since it is not some kind of a technical session that we have had so far, and almost semi-spiritual, so I think it would be better to give the mic straight away to Pawan. All the questions that we have had or we shall have, we shall open the session after he finishes whatever he has to say. So Pawan, it is all yours now. Pawan, it is all yours now.
Yeah. May I request everyone else to switch off your videos so that his video is spotlighted. Thank you. Pawanji, you can go ahead.
Namaste to everybody. Pranam, most humble, bow down pranam to each one. This is such a privilege to be here. And I must admit that I am a bit nervous to begin with knowing fully well that Arun Roy sir is listening. And now Avdesh Krishna, a friend of brother of ours, he's also there. Uh, Dr. Jha is there and others. Sunij is there, but Sarita ji and yourself, I'm not so familiar with. So people with whom you are not so familiar, you don't feel nervous. And people whom you are familiar with and you love, you get more conscious. So please bear with me. And um, that's one reason. And the other reason is the topic itself, which we will touch, is a very uh, complex, or I will say very subtle topic. And we will be approaching it. And I'll be speaking on it formally for the first time. So I must admit that. So I'll need everyone's blessings to be able to deliver and share whatever I humbly understand about the subject. First thing first, I introduce myself as Pawan Kumar Mishra. That's my name, not I am. Um, when we speak in spiritual circles, um, I represents the the conscious self known as Atman. But yes, I can say I'm known as Pawan Kumar Mishra. And I first met Arun sir at school, probably in 1979 or so, around that time, in school in Standard 8. And that was the beginning of a beautiful, at that time, we didn't know where this journey is going to take us. But that journey brought us quite far. We came around again in life several years later. After that time, after passing out in 81, probably we reconnected sometimes around 2010, 11, and then eventually in 2012 or 13, we had there was very beautiful conference under the wings of Copenhagen Business School, Department of Innovation. We had a hangout together, a conclave together at our Guru's ashram in Rishikesh, where Arun sir was also there, and I was there, and there were other scientists from Europe, scholars from Europe, and also from India, experts in yoga, experts in meditation, a sadhu, a sage, a scientist, all put together. And we had some very beautiful time, and we were exploring the relationship between consciousness, mind, and innovation. And of that whole conference, one phrase that I remember that came out of Arun sir was directed consciousness. He was talking about, he presented consciousness as existence, as a dispersed, diverse existence, but for the sake of innovation, for the sake of understanding its role with innovation, he used this word directed consciousness. I heard that term for the first time, and since then it has become my favorite term. At various forums, I use this word directed consciousness. to pinpoint the flow of awareness on a topic or a dimension of a topic. So that was how, and then we again got in touch back, and my learning process began with him um, as we went on over Facebook, over other public forums, and he would correct me sometimes very severely. But my understanding has been reshaped, I must say, in the last 7 to 10 years, 10 years that we have been again together in life, though we have met only seldom, 3, 4 times in these 10 years. So that is how my story with Arun sir goes on. And otherwise, I graduated in history honors from Delhi University, moved into the corporate world as a management trainee in DCM Toyota Limited, then moved on to the Times of India. Then I was in the logistic industry. I was country manager for an American multinational in the year 95, 96. And then a couple of yoga and other accidents brought me to a point where I turned to becoming a corporate trainer and an astrologer. Since 2000, I'm practicing Vedic astrology. Now, this is my silver jubilee year, 25th year, exactly from the same chair, not same chair, but the same space as I am right now. Along with that, I founded the Shrine of Universal Love, uh, Soul, in Noida, that ran for 9 years with 24 hours chanting for peace, and so on and so forth. Went on to write a syncretic commentary on the Hanuman Chalisa called Living Hanuman. Sunilji, can you mute yourself? Went on to write a long, detailed commentary on Hanuman Chalisa, possibly the first of its kind, called Living Hanuman. And thereafter wrote a much simpler book known as Habitual. It is on the aspect of happiness. In the meantime, also started a family of pilgrims or practitioners, you can say, called Shri Kula. And we go on now for over 5 years, 4 years. It's the 5th year now. We study together, practice together, hang out together, and that's the group. It's a worldwide group. And in this group, though we are studying the Indian texts, we study Hanuman Chalisa primarily. We have participants or family members from different age groups and different religious backgrounds: Muslims, Jews, Christians, Buddhists, Indians, atheists. We are all Hindus. We are all a part of this beautiful family. And we have retreats a couple of times a year, and that is how we are together. So that was a very long introduction. I was not meaning to take so much of your time, but that's an introduction. I would straight away touch the topic of today. The topic of today is Prāyashchitta. Prāyashchitta. It's a seldom touched topic. It's not a common topic, not commonly discussed. And whenever it is discussed, it is with a sense of distance and fear and guilt, some kind of a negative connotation with the word Prāyashchitta. So we will today try to look at it more closely. But first, some disclaimers, especially because Arun sir is here. These disclaimers are very important. He is very particular about the terms we use, the method we use to establish a point, etc. So the disclaimers are like this. There are a lot of assumptions when we talk about the topic of Prāyashchitta. These are not directly verifiable. They are in a quasi-verifiable realm. They are quasi-rational. These assumptions are based upon other assumptions, so they all become very, very porous and amorphous in their substance and subtlety. One of the top assumptions is that I or you or we are not this body, this physical body and mind. We are not, but we are conscious beings. And this consciousness, this conscious one, is known as Atman or the self. Atman simply means self, the sense of self, in which there's this sense of existence and awareness, Sat, existence, awareness, and a sense of joy, which we understand out of our constant seeking of joy. Therefore, we say that we are made up of the stuff of joy. So existence, awareness, consciousness, joy, that sense, that subtle sense like a fragrance that we feel about ourselves, some lingering fragrance within ourselves, that consciousness. Difficult to prove, but not so difficult to understand if you follow certain sophisticated logical processes laid out in Advaita Vedanta, etc. Or we just become silent and begin to tune in to our presence. So the first assumption is that we are consciousness. Second assumption is that this consciousness is on a journey, takes life after life after life. It's on a journey from, we cannot define, it's a journey from eternity until when? Well, what our sages say, that until this consciousness realizes that it is conscious, unless and until the self realizes the self, this journey continues, which is called self-realization. Some people will compare it to the journey of a water drop from the cloud through the rivers or the earth, ultimately into the ocean, till that drop becomes an ocean. So second assumption, that we are on a journey. Third assumption, that in this journey, this is a journey of cause and consequence. This is a journey of making conscious choices, either by commission or by omission. And as you make these choices have certain consequences. Some consequences are at a gross level, we see it, and a lot of those consequences are also reserved and preserved as memory, as impressions, which we know as latencies. We experience it as latencies, or we experience it as a certain proclivity in our lives. But these are some impressions from lifetimes of our journeys. So one is the lifetime of the journey of the consciousness itself, which has worn the mind around it, and it goes from one body to another. At another level, there are generations of genetic memory, which is encoded in the genes. Thousands and thousands and thousands of generations consisting of hundreds and thousands of ancestral memories are preserved in the genes. At least for the last 4 or 5 generations, the genes very actively remember those memories, which are expressed as certain diseases at times and certain proclivities also. So there are these two convergences happening, and we are presuming that these two convergences are congruent to each other. They are not random. It's not as if a genetic memory is going to randomly converge with a karmic memory. No, both are in sync. There is a reason why you came into this genetic flow through having done that karmic journey. And together, you are a genetic plus a karmic being on a journey. And we keep making choices. Of those choices, there are many impressions. And these impressions in turn create consequences, choices, and the cycle goes on. So at one point in time, we are set, now the third or fourth presumption, that for the sake of, if we wish to be liberated out of these cycles, or if we wish to be free, we'll talk about freedom in a bit. If we wish to be just free right here and now, we need to do something about these impressions, these burden, or the bundle, or the burden, or the pot of impressions that we are carrying on our shoulders. What do we do about it? Especially the impressions of negative karma. Positive karma, we don't mind. We are enjoying. We out of positive karma, we get wealth, we get kids, we have fun, we have good health, we are enjoying. That one we don't want to disturb. But when it comes to suffering, we begin to reflect where from this suffering is coming, and we kind of trace it back to our own certain choices, certain acts of commissions and omissions. We did certain things we should not have done. We did not do certain things that we had to do. And we ended up gathering certain consequential dust and impressions upon us. So these 4, 5, 6 impressions, and then another presumption that should we take some action about these impressions, that we will actually be able to rid of it and free ourselves. These 4, 5, 6 assumptions, we can say, we have to hold in our mind. They are not directly verifiable, but experientially, in our own commonsensical framework, we can understand. We have a certain cultural heritage also to back it, let us say. If we tone down everything, down, and bring it to our direct experience, all of us, I see here some I haven't seen the pictures of, but mostly we are around 50. We are 10, 20 years above, or 5, 7 years less than that. But I feel that we are at least certainly above 40, above 50. Some of us are 60s and so on. In such a long span of time, at least sometime or the other, when we have woken up to our own self or reflected, we do feel that we did something which we should not have done, or we turned away our face from something that we should have. The consequence of which was either we caused harm to our own selves, or to our neighbor or somebody, but we just sort of looked like that and walked away. But that memory haunts us. Or we spoke rudely to somebody, we misbehaved with somebody, we did not we were not kind to our employee who was working with us, etc. We know that such things have happened through us, this experiential, and we feel guilty, remorseful, but then we quickly brush it aside. These are uncomfortable feelings, so we throw it out. We don't want to be there. But for those of us who are sensitive, who are authentic, who are really true to themselves, they stay with the sense of this guilt, not in the most negative way, but in the sense of taking responsibility of having done or said or behaved in a way that caused hurt to somebody or to our own selves. What may I say? One way I will say is, well, just this evening, just before coming for this meet, I was a bit so nervous that I went up and my mom said, take this mango. I said, no, I have, don't you know that I don't eat mangoes because I'm diabetic? And then I said, okay, fine, let me have a little bit. Then I finished that whole mango, and then I ate one more mango. So I had 2 of those, and my parents were laughing. Okay, from one perspective, it is quite a funny situation. But from my own perspective, I have challenged my own body, which is very fragilely balanced on diabetic numbers. So I have put so much of sugar inside it that now it is like an aparad. We call it pragya aparad. crime against consciousness or crime against wisdom or a wisdom fault, whatever you call it, we end up doing it. We do it all the time. We choose wrong food for our bodies and we bear the consequences of that, and we create habits out of that and all of that. They are all part and parcel of the karmic load and the karmic spin and the tiny, big, large eddy currents of karma that keep us just around this place. So the point I wish to conclude this phase with is that it is in our experiential radar that we do certain actions which we feel heavy about later on, and we wish to get rid of that. This is one thing. Even if there are not lifetimes of memories and we don't believe in anything else, consciousness and all that, if we throw away all the assumptions, and even if we are just who we are, we directly feel ourselves to be, even then we become conscious of certain things that we feel we rather not have done that. That's one layer of it. Then becomes the once you begin to become aware of this, it expands. Then you say, oh my God, I have done this, and I remember doing all of this, but there might be many things that I might not be remembering. And then there might be many things I might not even be conscious, but I spoke in A way, B way, hurt somebody, did something, drove in a wrong lane, probably at that time or walked in a way that killed something. I don't know how many episodes or bubbles of hurt or impressions of hurt, pain, suffering have I given by making my choices consciously or unconsciously. So then, therefore, at that point in time, the quest to know a way to get rid or clean up or restore myself comes into the forefront, becomes important. So at this point, those who would not believe in anything, those who don't even have any such direct experience, and those who have such experiences of negative, taking responsibility for having done something wrong, yet do not feel any sense of responsibility to get rid of those impressions. They don't think it is important or have no priority for that. For them, this topic is not, because it is not at all an intellectual topic. There is hardly anything intellectual in it, not even academic. For them, this topic is not of any interest. If any one of you feel already bored by the primary submission, I cannot promise that the rest of it will be more interesting than this. So you can always choose to save your time. But if you wish, and if we wish together in a very conversational manner to take this topic a little further, we can. In fact, the fact that I'm not able to see everybody and see your expressions and responses, I feel I'm looking myself in the mirror and I feel I'm talking to myself. So I do not know if moderator sir will allow we can all be on camera and I could see if what I'm saying is being received well.
Okay, we shall make an exception kind of a thing, Pawan. Normally we do not do that, but since you are requesting, I think for some time all of us can come on the video and start speaking so that he gets some kind of a perception of what is the reflection maybe on our faces to what he's saying. So we can unmute and we can come on the video.
Yes, it's only a conversation, not at all a very sophisticated this thing. When I see everybody, I get a smile back. I see Amdesh, I see you, sir, I see you, sir, Dr. Raji. So,
sorry, I am working, so I cannot turn on anything. I have to keep everything
no problem,
off.
no problem
But
at all.
but it is for me. This is perfect. I was
Perfect.
looking for something like this. Thank you.
Fantastic. And please ask me stop me anywhere, ask me a question, say whatever you have to say. We are only having a very uh, friendly conversation together. So coming directly to the topic of Prāyashchitta, what is the meaning of the word Prāyashchitta? Meaning of the word Prāyashchitta. Very difficult to understand meaning. Why I'll say Praya plus Chitta. So Chitta is easy to understand. Chitta means the mind. Chitta is mind. Praya, something to do with the mind. So there are various commentators, various scholars who give different types of meaning to these words using different roots and breaking up that word in different ways. But first, let me tell you that Prāyashchitta is not a newly coined word. It can be traced back to the Sam Veda, and then there are some Brahman, there are some Aranyak, which talk about Taittiriya Samhita talks about the concept of Prāyashchitta, and at that point in time, it is referring to it as something to do with sin. That is how it is connected. And there are Brahmans and Aranyaks, other texts of the Vedas, portions of the Vedas that talk about very elaborate rituals that can help a person arise out of the impressions of the karma that has happened through his hands or her hands. Samavidhan, Brahman, etc. And then you have Manusmriti talking about Prāyashchitta. So there are a lot of texts that talk of Prāyashchitta. Some of them are so elaborate that these days it is impossible to perform them. And some of them have also missed the central point of, of Prāyashchitta. We'll discover it now. But they were relevant in that time. For today's modern time, we have to devise our own ways to restore the mind in this digitally captive world. So Chitta means the mind, and Prayaha tends to refer to something which is broken. So Prāyashchitta can be said can be expressed as restoring something, restoring the mind, or something that got broken and that we are restoring. Because chitta also means putting together. Chitta. Normally it is not chit. It is not C-H-I-T. C-H-I-T. Chit means consciousness. Chitta. C-H-I-T-T-A. Chitta. Ta with a halant. One more ta in that. That is one of the faculties of the mind, or the mind itself. And that faculty of the mind, that part of the mind, stores memories. So because it keeps the memories together, chitta is taken as a form of keeping together, and praya means something broken, something that scattered it, and chitta is bringing it back. So prayachit means restoring the mind. In fact, interestingly, those who have some, okay, even if you have not traveled to Italy, città is city in Italian. That's why city, the word city itself, C is pronounced Ch in Italian Latin. C is pronounced as that. So it is actually citti, città. That's the word, a city, a place that everything is together. Samavidhan Brahman talks about pra plus ayah plus chitta. So pra always means after. Pra, after. Ayah, after this, something. It is again in a very indicative manner. After this, that. After you have done something, what have you done? You know, you have done something that should not have been done. After that, after this, that. Praya, pra, ayah, chitta. Chitta is after this, that, to the mind. It is pointing towards that. So as I said, a very direct translation of the word prayashchit is not forthcoming, but we can use Prāyashchitta. We can translate Prāyashchitta as restoring of the mind, which is recognizing the fact that through my mind, I made certain choices which created certain negative consequences of hurt, of loss or damage to others or to myself or to the environment. I recognize that because of that, I'm disturbed. This disturbance, by following a certain protocol, I'll reset it, reset this disturbance. This is the meaning of Prāyashchitta. One more thing before going into further details is the fact that Prāyashchitta is a very elaborate and a serious process, not a light process. It is not how you'll say, it is easy to break something. You take a piece of pottery, drop it, finished. In 1 minute, 1 second, millisecond, it will be broken. To put it together, even if you use the sophisticated method of the Japanese kintsugi method of putting together broken pottery and filling the cracks with gold, even if you were to do that, it will take hours and days to put it together, what you took only a moment to destroy. वह दौर भी देखा है तारीख के हमने, लम्हे ने खता की थी, सदियों ने सजा पाई है. In history, we have seen such episodes that a moment faulted and centuries that followed suffered. So it's a fault of a moment. In spark of a moment, you take up a gun, shoot a person, finished. He's dead. Murder has been committed. And it will take centuries, lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes for you to find the same peace that you had before shooting that person. And many lifetimes of many people who will be impacted to come back to normalcy, if at all they will come back. Lifetimes. The memory of that violence will persist. Therefore, it's a very serious matter. It's not an easy matter. And where do we begin? Well, we begin with a notebook and a pen and start writing our situations of sufferance in our lives. Because we need to find out what have we done in the past that we need to do Prāyashchitta for. If you want to find that out, we need to find that out. Only then we can point our energies towards that. Some things we'll remember directly. We know ourselves quite well. If not, we can take the help of our life partners, of our children, of our parents, of dear friends who can tell us, look, this has been your habit. Every time you used to do this, we used to keep quiet, but we used to feel very hurt by you saying or doing this. And then you can extrapolate. We can make a list of all the possible faults, all the possible causes of pain that you might have created so far. Then another way is, what are you suffering today? Whatever you are suffering today is a consequence of a certain impression of suffering that you created in the first place. Karm phal, you are getting the karm phal of that. Suppose somebody is, please pardon me, I'm only speaking in front in a very closed family together. So I'm using some loose examples just to express the fact. Suppose somebody's marriage is not working very well, sufferance in marriage. Certainly, in this lifetime, previous lifetime, something I have done either to this particular person who is in front of me through whom I'm suffering, or to someone's marriage I destroyed. I made some errors, some actions in such a way that somebody's marriage was destroyed, that today my marriage is getting destroyed. If you look very closely, you can even extrapolate a story behind it. So the Prāyashchitta will come to the list of things that we can do, but out of that we can choose, if I do this, at least this I can do now to nullify the effect of that karma, nullify the stain of that karma. Why is it so important to remove these stains and layers of karma or stains? On where is it? Where are these deposited? These are all deposited on the mind. As recent or as popularly as the Hanuman Chalisa, Shri Hanuman Chalisa, as written by Goswami Tulsidas ji just 400 years ago, he begins by saying, Nij man mukur sudhar, Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj, Nij man mukur sudhar. I cleanse the mirror of my mind. Cleansing the mirror of my mind is the first and possibly the only sacred task that we have. Because once we cleanse the mirror of that mind, we will be able to see our own divinity reflected in that mirror. Hriday basahu surbhup, Ram Lakhan Sita Sahit, Hriday basahu surbhup, that the indweller is living within me as me. I see reflected in that clean mirror of my mind. Otherwise, I'm like a bewildered soul thinking I'm Pavan, I'm Abdesh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a banker, I'm an astrologer. I stay in this state of ignorance, in this state of identity, and continue to do things that bring about suffering to myself and to others. So at this point in time, we take cognition of our actions. So we begin with a notebook, and we begin with a deep understanding of myself, the conscious self, and the mind and the body. In fact, in the group, when I had formed the Prāyashchitta group, which again I'm going to activate now, I had requested everybody to write a letter to yourself. And there I defined I means this I that I know myself to be. Pawan Mishra, male, Indian, whoever I know myself with the drama that is around me, that I call life, I. And there, you is my conscious, highest conscious self, supremely conscious self. That is the indweller. And I write this letter in such a way as if that you, that conscious self, has wrapped itself in a shawl of mind, and that mind has become stained. And now I'm prepared to go through a process to unstain that mind. मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं. Hariom Sharan's very, very famous 40-year-old bhajan. मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं, मन ही मन शर्माऊं. How do I come to your doorstep, O my father, with a shawl which is stained by my own deeds? So we take upon ourselves that this shawl, I take the responsibility of these spots, and I know a process which will cleanse it. What will happen if you go through the Prāyashchitta karma benefit? What will happen if you go through the process? There are more or less three primary benefits. One is that once we go through that process, we feel lighter in our hearts, in our own heart, in our own mind. We feel cleanser, lighter. True. Lighter, cleanser, cleaner. I feel that unburdened. Unburdened is the word. I feel unburdened of my own stains. I feel I've done something about it. At least I've acknowledged that something has happened, and I've done everything in my human understanding to fix it, to make it right. That's one. The other big thing that happens is untattooing of the karma. Untattooed. Karma has gotten tattooed. It is said that karma cannot be removed. You have to suffer it. But going through the text that I have, the scriptures that I have, it is possible to untattoo the karma if you follow a certain procedure. There is a way to get it out. Oh, yes, it's a difficult way. It's not an easy way. Just as you need to go to a plastic surgeon to get your tattoo off. You can go to any shop and get a tattoo done in 10 minutes. To get it off, now you will have to spend a lot of money, a lot of time, plastic surgery, and then it can go off. It's not easy, but it is possible. So the first thing will be unburdening of the heart. The second will be untattooing of the karma, of my own karma. I'll get rid of it. I'll get free of it. I'll get cleansed of the karmic imprints. And thirdly, in this whole process, because in this process, I'll be in touch with grace of God. It is likely that I'll come closer to God. It is impossible to go through a Prāyashchitta process without coming in contact with the divine. That's a promise. And it's a big, big, big plus for going through this process of Prāyashchitta. To refresh your minds on something very common, there are 4 types of karma. Just to refresh, 4 types of karma that we're looking at. Karma is in 4 categories. One is sanchit karma. It's the universal set. All the actions that you have done so far in your total journey through life, lifetimes after lifetimes, all the impressions belong to this superset. You can say that. Sanchit karma. Out of that is called prarabdha karma. Pra-arabdha. Pra means after, arabdha. Arabdha means begun. That subset of karma that will now unfold in this particular lifetime. When you were born, a subset of that sanchit karma will unfold in this lifetime. You will suffer, you will enjoy, you will experience all driven by these latencies and proclivities. These will become your proclivities. These will become your tendencies in this lifetime. So prarabdha karma. Third karma is kriyaman karma, the karma in the present. At present, whatever you're doing in this present moment. Kriyaman karma, in action. And so what you're doing in present is also going to be some kind of a resultant force of the past karma that is pushing you along, because you keep on making similar type of choices. Seldom we make strong differentiating choices that change our path. So we keep on rolling on. So our kriyaman karma is also stained by our prarabdha karma, and of course prarabdha karma comes from sanchit karma. And the fourth karma is agami karma, the future, which is about to arrive. Agami, what is about to arrive, those karma. So these are 4 types of karma. Prāyashchitta karma aims at the first 2, sanchit karma and prarabdha karma. These 2 karma are the first 2 targets of Prāyashchitta karma. And certainly as there is a certain modification in these impressions, our kriyaman karma changes, our agami karma also changes, and therefore we begin to create a different kind of a karmic repository or a karmic impression. We control that, we shape it, what we say, in that way, Prāyashchitta is directed consciousness. We direct the consciousness to create a certain kind of a pathway for us, which allows us an elevated trajectory out of the current frame of existence. Currently, we are in 3-dimensional material existence with space and time dimensions. To exit this and arrive into higher, better, that is what everybody wishes, realms of realities. So these are the 4 types of karma. Outcome also we have understood. So should we go straight to the steps, the various steps that I have gathered from different sources, put them together in a sensible list. But before I do that, I pause here just for a few moments to take any questions so far. Any questions, any impressions, anything just so far? Anywhere you feel I was not clear, I could. Yes, please. Sarita ji.
Pawan, have you finished your part or now you will take question and?
I will take question only on this part, sir, and the other part is easy. This is more conceptual, so I thought I will take anything that is just now lingering in people's mind, just 5-7 minutes, and then the next part is easy, sir.
Beautiful. So people would raise their hands normally as we do. So you can raise the hands, those who have some question based on what. Yeah, Rakesh, please go ahead. Okay, so those who have some questions based on what Pawan spoke just now in maybe last half an hour or so, so you can raise your hands. Rakesh, you have raised the hand, right?
I have raised the
Rakesh, please
hand.
unmute yourself.
Sarita ma'am has raised her hand, and Ashutosh here, I have raised my hand. Sorry,
Ashutosh has arrived. So Ashutosh, please take it over from here, and you can ask Sarita ma'am to unmute and ask the question.
No, sir, you carry on. Sarita ma'am can go ahead and speak, but it's okay.
Okay, Sarita ma'am.
Sarita,
please unmute yourself and please put.
So my question is that I know these are the karma. Let's talk about the present karma or maybe the past karma. Sometimes you don't even know the karma you have done is wrong or right. How do you go like do prāyashchitta? Because your one mind says, no, this is not wrong. The others say, maybe it is wrong. And I have a few things I have done which personally I feel, no, it is not wrong because it is from my pure heart. On the other hand, oh, maybe someone will call it wrong. And that kind of like, do I need to really do a prāyashchitta for that, which I'm not even considering it is wrong?
Perfect.
That
so
is
here,
my question.
Yeah, yes, I understand that. This question, what happens is that when it comes to judging others, we are very, very sharp and very, very strong when it comes to judging others' actions. And when it comes to judging our own action, we become very soft and kind to our own selves. What I will suggest, there is certainly, definitely, quite a black and white laid out method of knowing what action has to be put under prāyashchitta and what not. However, for the beginning, if you have a doubt about something, certainly you are sure that what you did cause hurt to the other person. Even if that person was wrong and you are very right, yet you possibly could have used a different set of words, a different choice of action, behavior, or something that could have at least reduced the hurt. It is possible. If there is even a maybe, include that as part of your prāyashchitta. Be tough to yourself, soft to others. That would be the first judgment. Even if there is an iota of a doubt that I might have hurt somebody, but it may not be socially possible to go back and say, please forgive me for this. May not be socially possible, but in your heart. And then there are methods. We'll talk about that. There are methods of how within your heart you can trigger a forgiveness process and get forgiven in your heart. But at least in your heart, acknowledge that, yes, for some reason, I did do something. Of course, I did it with a good intention, but it did not go through very well. Does this sound convincing enough, Sarita ji?
Yes, very convincing. Be hard on yourself, soft on others.
Yes, that would be that. That
And
spirit
the
is needed.
other thing, yes, another thing, what if the same action, in other words, what if the same action done by others, would you accept that? And if not, then you need to do prashchit.
What if I did not understand the second question? What if?
A question, it's not a question, it's basically comment that the action you are justifying that is not necessarily need a prashchit. If the same action done by others, would you ask them to do prashchit?
Yes,
In
very
other words,
nice.
you change your go to other side of the table. In other
Yes,
words,
please. Yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
thank
Avdesh,
you.
Avdesh,
Avdesh ji.
Avdesh, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Avdesh.
Yeah. So my question is, I face a very different. Actually, um, face a situation where I'm extremely hard on myself, and I'm also saying it because sometimes I get this as a feedback also. Or the second part is, I get very disturbed even with things which later, I'm told that ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं था, ऐसा तो कुछ तुमने कहा नहीं, बोला नहीं, किया नहीं, and that happens a lot of times. So my question is how to develop that wisdom of really being very objectively, judgmental on my action, to really understand कि हाँ मैंने ये गलत किया और मुझे इसके लिए प्रैक्टिस करनी है, सुधार करनी है, either of the two. That's my question.
Perfect. I have included it in the list of Prashchit itself because this wisdom is necessary in the first place, but it will come at the end. We will take it. So may I go ahead?
I cannot see any more hands raised.
Yes.
The question by Rakesh ji.
Yes, go ahead,
Question is that
Ashutosh. Is traveling
Yes,
now.
I can read. I can read Rakesh ji's question.
Please do that.
What if Rakesh ji's question is, what if one feels no need to correct anything through Prāyashchitta if one is at ease with how the past has unfolded? Like, shall I repeat this, Pawan?
I have
Or
understood. I have understood. Perfect. It's a very good question for me to answer and move to the next part of it. So I have mentioned it already in the beginning that Prashchit is not necessary or Prashchit will not be done by a person who does not feel the need of it. He thinks it is all okay. If it is okay, keep going. That's all. Huh? But even a person of a stature of Bhagwan Shri Ram, at least in the books, it is said that he performed Prashchit karma. And the not the proof, but the symbol of that is that our Jyotirlinga at Rameshwaram, it was established by Sri Ram as a mark of his Prāyashchitta, and there are accounts of what he did to get rid of the impressions of all the violence and the consequences of that, all the killings that happened in Sri Lanka, in Lanka at that time. So Prashchit can only happen if there is a recognition of it. And therefore, the twin word, Prashchit, is never alone. There is a twin word on which Prashchit is based. And that twin word is known to everybody, Paschatap. Paschat-tap. Therefore, Paschatap. Paschat, afterwards, tap, a certain burning, a certain recognition that I have done something wrong, and a certain heat that remorse creates, a certain sincere acceptance that something that I should not have done, I did, something I should have done, I did not do. I'm very sorry for this. I'm very, very sorry for this. Paschatap. So Prāyashchitta, the intention of Prāyashchitta arises in the bed of Paschatap. If there's no Paschatap, if there's no heat after doing something, if I've scolded my servant and there is a tear rolling down her tears, her eyes, and it doesn't matter to me. I can look at her, why are you standing here and crying? And say, go do your work. If I'm able to do that, then it is okay. But if there is some churning in my heart, then I must follow the urge to stand up, not really say sorry, but at least express that I have heard and I have recognized her pain. Avdesh, you want to say something? Okay. So Paschatap is the bed on which Prāyashchitta rises. It surfaces. It's the substratum on which Prāyashchitta arises, is felt. The need for Prāyashchitta is felt. Now, what I have done is I have arranged all the modalities known in the books in different texts of Prāyashchitta into two sets. One that we can directly do, easily do. It will directly impact our karmic array and impression. There are 16 of them. And then there are 8 of indirect practices, total 24 petals of Prāyashchitta. If we are able to build these 24 petal lotus and then offer it at the feet of divine, we will be able to hit the reset button of our karma, and we can get a fresh start of sorts. Now, I could type it down and share it in the group if Arun sir allows me. Otherwise, you can also make a note of it as I'm speaking. It will be difficult for you to remember all 24, but you'll get a sense of where am I driving at. So, coming directly to the first 16 steps of Prāyashchitta, the first step is called Antah Samiksha, deep and sincere introspection. Antah Samiksha. That's the first step. Take a notebook, keep going, keep digging deep into yourself and finding out what did you do? Did you do something like that, etc. Then, arising out of Antah Samiksha, Paschatap, step 2. There has to be a remorse. There cannot be a Prāyashchitta as a lip service. You cannot do Prāyashchitta as lip service. Paschatap. After that, Kshama, forgiveness. Forgiveness both ways. Seeking forgiveness and also giving forgiveness, because somebody else also might have hurt you. In the whole story of hurt and why you did this and why you did that, like Saritaji was saying, maybe I was right, but that person was insulting me. So I turned around and slapped him. So sure, she was right in slapping, but that person was also insulting her. So she also felt hurt. So in the heart, to forgive that person for insulting her and to seek forgiveness for having insulted, for having insulted that person. Both ways. Kshama. That's why one of the names of the goddess in the 5th chapter, Devi Suktam, is Ya Devi Sarvbhuteshu Kshama Rupena Sanstita. Namastasya, 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 Namo Namah. Kshama. Immediately after Kshama is Chanti. Chanti. Chanti means forbearance, jhelna, to suffer as duty. Sometimes we cannot get rid of a situation. That person, we can't get rid of that person in our lives. But we cannot continually hurt that person as a retaliation also. So we stop hurting, but we begin to jelofy that person. Just forbearance is part of Paschatap. And it is Ya Devi Sarvbhuteshu Chanti Rupena Sanstita. Namastasya, 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 Namo Namah. These are two such high attributes that they are said to be the names of the goddess. In fact, Kshama is one of the synonyms of Mother Earth. She is the most forgiving entity. I will go quick because I see I have only 10 minutes time. Shanti. Prakatya. Prakatya means confession. Who do you confess to? Your guru buddy, somebody whom you trust, your friend. Go and share. If you feel safe, share. Say that I have messed up, I have goofed it. Saying itself is a type of Pashyatap, is a kind of Prāyashchitta, is a part of Prāyashchitta, you can say. Otherwise, go and acknowledge it in front of the person to whom you have hurt, if it is possible. It is a big release to the hurt that you caused. The fact that you go and acknowledge it, it nullifies a lot of karma on either side. Prakatya. Then comes tapas, tapasya. Pick a practice which takes you to the edge of your discomfort. That is tapasya. So that through that practice, there is a certain heat which is generated as a rebound. Heat, not the heat that burns, but a heat of inner mental heat of discomfort, and stay in there, hold on, that tapas. It includes pranayam, many cycles of that, including kumbhak pranayam, but only under guidance. Kumbhak is breath retention. Normally we must not do it, but when we do it for Prāyashchitta, at that time, if we are well prepared, we have to practice certain types of kumbhaka that also cleanses the energy impressions of the karma. Tapa, then japa, repetition. Which mantra? Gayatri mantra is the most favorite mantra. It was probably also arising out of the Pashyatap of Rishi Vishwamitra on clashing with his guru. And it is after that that he got the vision of the Gayatri Mahamantra. Gayatri mantra, or any mantra as advised. There are very sophisticated calculations based on astrology, which can tell you which particular mantra you must do to cleanse which particular impression. This arises out of Karma Vipak Samhita. It's a text, old ancient text of astrology, very beautifully laid out nakshatra wise. One can pick up the mantra from there also. Japa. Dan, significant amount of charity. Dana is part of Prāyashchitta. Then pratikarma, compensatory action. I realized that my marriage is messed up. I must have messed up some marriages. Let me now, in my life, every year get 11 girls married. Maybe I'm not able to get money for 11 girls to get married. Maybe I ask all my friends to contribute. I will be an instrument of settling 11 couples together in a happy life. Compensatory action. Pratikarma. Tirtha, pilgrimage, going to a place of pilgrimage. But the moment we talk of Tirtha, we immediately think we have to go to a place. But our Shastra, our scriptures define Tirtha of three categories, three types of Tirtha. Tirtha simply means such a space in which the moment you enter that space, you cross over your pain and suffering, such a space. So one Tirtha is called Sthavar Tirtha. Tirtha, which is at a fixed place, immovable place. Say Banaras, Kasi, Haridwar, Rameshwaram. These are Tirtha. To go to that place, take a dip in those waters, spend some time and do whatever you have been prescribed to do on those Tirtha. The other Tirtha is Jangam Tirtha. Jangam means movable Tirtha. Who is movable Tirtha? A sadhu. Sadhu means a good man, a pure man. Sadhu. A guru. A rishi. These are considered to be movable Tirtha. They are moving wherever they are. If they arrive wherever they are, arrive there, be in their presence. This is also Tirtha. And then there is Manas Tirtha, a mind which has been purified. And there are qualities of those purification. We have not so much time. With such qualities, when you build your own mind, that mind becomes a tirtha, arriving into that tirtha. Then comes vrata, vow. For example, taking a vow of silence is a prashchit karma. Taking a vow of stillness, I will not move. Silence and stillness, I will not move for 1 hour, come what may. Stillness and other kinds of vows, other vrata. Then comes upavas, fasting, Chandrayaan fasting, dry fasting, following the moon, the detailed protocols of fasting, different types of fasting. Then Pitri Pujan, ancestor, giving respect to the ancestors, doing Pitri Puja, Pitridan, etc., to get rid of our genetic karma, not rid, to harmonize it, to switch off some genetic memories. And there are very elaborate processes, Nag Bali, Narayan Bali, etc. If you were to understand the mantra and the meaning of it and really harness your awareness, directed consciousness into that, you'll realize how sophisticated the methodology to touch and be resonant with deep impressions and switch them off or switch them on. Karma Kand, Homa, Yajna, Seva, service, one of the best tools for Prāyashchitta. Ishwar Pranidhan, surrender to God. All the Papa Karma that you have done, all that I have done it with the sense that I am the doer. To get rid of the doership is the ultimate Prāyashchitta. But how will you get rid of doership? You cannot get rid of doership unless and until you get rid of enjoyership. It is from the sense of enjoyership that you're prompted, you want to enjoy food, therefore you're prompted to take some actions to get that particular type of food. So to even surrender the sense of enjoyership in a very beautiful, systematic manner, or in a very beautiful manner to Bhagwan, to the Lord, is Ishwar Pranidhan. To be always aware of the presence of the Lord, Ishwar Pranidhan. It is one of the 5 niyamas of the 8-limbed yoga, Ashtanga Raj yoga of Patanjali. Then these were the 16 steps, and then there are the 8 subtler acts. One is Swadhyaya, self-study, self-observation, making the right choice between prayas and shreyas, between pleasant and good. Prayas, shreyas. What is pleasant? What is going pleasure? What is actually good and I ought to? Self-study or self-observation, being conscious of the observer's self. Satsang, company of pilgrims of light, company of like-minded, like we are sitting together, this satsang. Sadhana, yoga, dhyan, daily rhythm of life is a big sadhana to respect our time and make our life in a very beautiful rhythm. Nada yoga, music, kirtan, chanting of Omkar. Pancha Mahavrata, ahimsa, satya, asteya, aparigraha, brahmacharya. They are all the 5 Mahavratas. They are all the 5 Yama of Patanjali, Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. Chitta Prasadana, through the 4 Brahma Vihar. Pleasanting, Chitta Prasadana means pleasanting of the mind. Chitta Prasadana, Prasadana pleasanting. Chitta, mind. Pleasanting the mind by following the 4 Brahma Viharas. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha, etc. Then Bhava Sanshuddhi. There is a very difficult word called bhav to translate it into English. Bhav comes from the root word bhava, means to be. At the level, Chitta Prasadana is at the level of feeling. At the level of being, Bhava Sanshuddhi, pleasanting or purifying the sense of being. At the being level. At this level, a sense of bhakti, a sense of deep immersed gratitude is necessary. And above all, the last one is Atma Gyan, to pursue studying Brahma Vidya, to pursue exploring different aspects of human understanding that lead into a direct experiential understanding and anchorage into my true self. That is the highest restoration of the mind. Prāyashchitta simply means restoration of the mind to its original purity. Highest will happen when we are able to be anchored in myself, in my own self, in your own self. So these are the 24 do's. And then I'll quickly say there is a shloka that says 13 don'ts. What are the don'ts? Praising yourself, big time. Don't do it. Again, you will drop somewhere. Praising yourself, seeking recognition and fame, unable to bear insult, a big drop. Anger, greediness, feeling of superiority, being judgmental, going back on your commitment to help. I said, I'll help you. You come back, I don't help you. Regret having helped or donated. Sometimes it happens. We give an amount, then we say we have done a lot. Mistreating or misbehaving with a child, old person, woman, or mentally challenged. These 4 people. Child, old person, mother, father, parents at home, neighbors, a woman, or somebody who is mentally challenged. Letting down someone who is seeking help. Being miserly. Boldly indulging in unrighteous deeds against your conscience. Something is, you know it is not right, and yet you do it. Pragya Brad. And sexual indulgence and fantasies have also been given in that verse. Indulgence, uncontrolled and unethical indulgence will count into creating further cobwebs of karma. So with this, I quickly pause. I still have 5 minutes left. So thank you very much for listening to me and blessing me so that I could share whatever little I understand of this topic.
There is no comments anywhere to be made by me at any point. I would like the hands to be raised, and then they can. I mean, it's open for the people now. I'm speechless on my part. Totally speechless. Actually, I'm just quoting Pawan, somebody in the same group who had commented after a session. He was quoting Alec Padmsky कि अगर तुम्हारे परफॉर्मेंस के बाद लोग तुरंत उठ करके तालियां बजाते हैं तो समझो कि वो अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस है, लेकिन अगर तुम्हारे परफॉर्मेंस के बाद शांति छा जाती है और 2 या 3 मिनट की शांति के बाद लोग उठते हैं और अपने को व्यक्त करते हैं, तब समझो कि तुम्हारा परफॉर्मेंस सीधे दिल तक पहुंच गया है. तो लगता है कि शांति उसी का निरूपक है. Has somebody raised the hands?
Sir, Ashutosh again, I raise my hand.
Yes, Ashutosh, please go ahead.
तो पहली बात तो पवन मिश्रा जी, सर मैं क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ कि मैं कुछ बाहर गया हुआ था, तो उस कारण मैं ये सेशन देर से ज्वाइन किया मैंने, और मुझे इस बात का अफसोस है कि मैंने ये सेशन देर से ज्वाइन किया, क्योंकि इसमें तो बिल्कुल जो एक संस्कृत में सुभाषितानी हम पढ़ते थे वो उसकी वर्षा हो रही थी, और मैंने जो भी मिस किया है, आई होप मैं रिकॉर्डिंग जब देखूंगा तो मैं वो सब प्राप्त करूंगा. लेकिन मेरा एक संदेह है, प्रश्न नहीं है सर, मेरा एक संदेह है. आपने जो 16 स्टेप बताए जो करने चाहिए, 16 + 8 और 13 बचा डोंट्स कि ये नहीं करने चाहिए. नाउ मैं ये कहूंगा कि एज ए नॉर्मल ह्यूमन बीइंग, एक सामान्य मनुष्य की तरह बहुत सी चीजें हमें पता होती है. मुझे पता है कि ये नहीं करना चाहिए, ये मैं जो कर रहा हूँ ये गलत कर रहा हूँ, या मुझे ऐसा करना चाहिए, ये सही चीज है। और इंटेंशन भी रहता है कि मुझे ऐसा करना चाहिए, मैं ऐसा करूंगा ये, पर वो हो नहीं पाता है। तो मैं आपसे ये आग्रह करूंगा कि कोई ऐसा तरीका है कि हम अपने आप को हमेशा ऐसा करने या ऐसा न करने को विवश करें, या मतलब कि हम हमारे दिमाग में ये बात रहे कि नहीं, नाउ आई शुड स्टॉप, बस ये गलत कर रहा हूं मैं, आई शुड स्टॉप हियर। ये चीज आती है मन में लेकिन हो नहीं पाता है। ये एक बड़ा ही
आ- ये बड़ा पुरातन प्रश्न है, पुराना सवाल है। अर्जुन का भी ऐसे ही सवाल था। तो
जी
भगवान ने उसके जवाब में, ये तो माइंडफुल एक्शन लिख दिए अवधेश जी, लेकिन भगवान ने जवाब में दिया कि भाई अभ्यास वैराग्येन, अभ्यास और वैराग्य, प्रैक्टिस एंड डिस्पैशन का। और फिर एक और बात फैलता है, लेकिन जितनी बातें हैं उनको अगर, लेकिन एक और चीज सोचिएगा कि समझ तो अर्जुन को भी था और समझ दुर्योधन को भी था। हमने इस किताब में उसको कोट किया कि जब भगवान समझाने गए तो दुर्योधन कहता है हमें मत समझाओ, हमें मालूम है कि क्या अच्छा है और क्या बुरा है, लेकिन हम बुराई करने के लिए चलते हैं, तो हमको हमको समझाने की जरूरत नहीं। तो वो नहीं करेगा कोई वैसा कर्म। लेकिन भगवान कहते हैं कि जैसे कर्म की जो गति है, तभी भगवान ने कहा गहना कर्मणा गति, वो इतनी गहन है, इतनी गुह्य है कि आदमी उसमें सूखे पत्ते की तरह बहता रहता है, तो ग्रिप में नहीं ले ले पाता है। लेकिन ये बात है कि जहां से आपने तय कर लिया कि हम इतने ही करेंगे, बिट बाय बिट, एकदम थोड़ा 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 करके 16 में से एक चीज तो समझ। और हमने कहने के लिए 16 और 24 और 13 और 200 बता दिए हैं, लेकिन हम लोग सांस लेते हैं तो आप सोचिए ना, छाती फूलता है, फिजियोलॉजी तो डॉक्टर साहब भी बता देंगे कि कितनी फिजियोलॉजिकल प्रोसेसेस होती है, तो हमको याद थोड़ी करना पड़ता है, सब चल रहा ऑटोमेटिकली। तो एक बार जब हम इस मूड में आ जाते हैं तो एक साथ इनमें से कई आयाम एक साथ ही ठीक हो रहे होते हैं। जैसे गाड़ी चलाते हैं तो कितने सारे प्रोसेसेस अनकॉन्शियसली हम लोग चलाने लगते हैं। तो जब हम इस मोड में हो जाते हैं और जब हम लोग आखिरी वाला जो है 24वां आत्मज्ञान को पकड़ लेते हैं, तो पीछे वाली सारी चीजें जो है एक सीक्वेंस से लगती चली जाती हैं उसमें, तो वो उसमें इतना कष्ट नहीं होता। दूसरी बात यह है कि जब एक बहुत बड़ी बात होती है नोइंग डूइंग गैप, जब हम नोइंग डूइंग गैप को समझ लेते हैं और हम उस पर एकदम ध्यान दे देते हैं और कहते हैं कि हमको इसको कम करते चले जाना है। कुरान में उसको इल्म और अलम का फासला बता दिया। इल्म और अमल, सॉरी, इल्म और अमल, इसका फासला वो आखिरी दिन में पूछा जाएगा, आखिरियत में रिसरेक्शन के दिन पूछ लेंगे वो अल्लाह से कि भाई तुमको पता था, तुमने क्यों नहीं किया, वो गैप कहाँ से आ गया एक्शन नोइंग और डूइंग में। तो ये तो हमारी वही बात हमने कहा कि जिसके दिल में सीरियसनेस होगा तो थोड़ा 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 करके हम लोग पहुंच ही जाएंगे। और नहीं सीरियसनेस होगा, पश्चाताप ही नहीं होगा, उसको चाहिए ही नहीं प्रायश्चित, उसको चाहिए ही नहीं अपना हायर वर्जन या ढमकाना फलाना, सब बकवास की चीजें बाहर में जाए, हमें तो जैसे जी रहे हैं वैसे ही जीना है, तो उसके लिए ये बात ही नहीं।
जी सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
शारदा प्रसाद जी ने भी हाथ उठाया है, तो शारदा प्रसाद जी प्लीज अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ and then you can put your question or comment.
Sir, namaskar. We sometimes do something. It is not a face-to-face transaction. Like, I'm away, relatives are away. I do something, thought it will be good, tell something, or maybe get something done. And, or even when in working life, I have to take a decision. Seeking a good person among many. Many are equally competent. And I select one. I may not be 100% correct. They all go. Nobody tells much. And then somebody comes to serious grief. Or my judgment has not been correct. Or in this particular case, my relative has got a lot of mental problem. And in one particular case, that person has got no problem. It's an office situation, but he was trying to get some benefit, and he was giving false messages to other people that ये आपने ये problem होगा आपके लिए, मैं तो suicide कर लूंगा, ये लूंगा. It's so much that being a heart patient, I fell ill, I sent a person to his home to see and found, he reported that he is enjoying your cup of coffee and बीच आपको phone करके terminate करता है. So anyway, that is his part. So when we do not come to know what is the reaction, and sometimes this act does good or does bad. So what will be a rational situation to maybe think back, do some correction, or even get to know that it is not right? This is question number one. And I have a small question, second. Second is that ये जो आप चित्त प्रसाधन होता है, some people said if there is a problem, you do not know, something is tormenting you, and you think, and you try to touch what exactly is that is eating you up. If you are able to touch, half is gone. So it is only a psychiatric recognition of the process. So there is no spirituality. In these two situations, your comment and guidance. Thank you, sir.
I will attempt it. First, the second question. When we say that we touch that problem and it is gone, sometimes it works, but most of the time, if we have not backed it up with going deeper and understanding from which space such actions or things were happening, then that resolution of that pain or that tormenting situation in the mind will be unsustainable. It will happen. Yoga Sutra of Rishi Patanjali says, it is possible to get enlightenment by drugs. He says that it's one of the means. You can take some drug, ayahuasca, bhang, whatever, you will reach some expanded state of consciousness or even a state of maybe enlightenment. But that is not sustainable. Alabdha bhumi karakatva, the ground under your feet of that experience will soon be lost. Alabdha bhumi. You'll again drop into the same place. So when we restore our mind, and if we follow a systematic method to that, I'm not saying it has to be totally so-called within quotes spiritual. Certainly a lot of psychological processes are also spiritual. After all, what is spiritual? Spiritual is being breath-centered, being life-centered. That is spiritual, not being merely stimulation and its fulfillment-centered. So within the scope of spirituality, psychological tools, and especially modern psychological tools, are all welcome. Whatever gives us symptomatic relief, whatever gives us long-term solution and resolution. So that would be my comment on the second question. I hope that is acceptable. And the comment to the first question is, in terms of karmic impression, there is a word that is used in judiciary. It's called menshriya. Menshriya is very important. Out of which intent did you do that? Did you take a decision? What was the intention behind that? When the intentions are right, still the action can be such that it might cause hurt to a person. In that case, also we'll do prāyashchitta. And when the intentions are wrong, then we'll certainly do prāyashchitta, even if the outcome of that was probably beneficial to some set of people. But the entire gamut of karma rotates around sankalpa, around the choices that we make through arising out of the intentions that surface up in us. So menshriya will be the key to decide. If you are in any doubt, menshriya will be the key deciding factor as to what was the primary intention. Did that answer you, or?
I mean, it gives more home task to learn and understand, and I'm quite out of depth in this because I have never studied so much. Sir, only a follow-up question. You said that one of the ways to visit tirths, and there are many tirthas depending on your physical condition, your other abilities. So one of the options was Manas Tirtha. So somebody who is not actually able to move around, actually able to go and do, and does not have time or wherewithal. So develop your own mind into a tirtha. So a little bit more guidance on how to.
There, what happens that way, if you go in our own body, there are 61 tirtha in the. If you were to go by some text of tantra, within our own body there are several Jalandhar Peeth, and all those tirtha are places in our body, but we need to be trained to access those places. I'm just I'm just seeing if I have somewhere a note of on what are the qualities of the mind which becomes a tirtha. I will just be able to say that in 1 second, if there is anything. I probably did not um, I did not note it down. There are several qualities like that. Mind has to be pure. It has to be truthful. It has to be full of compassion. It has to be not filled with pride. Such a mind is a tirtha. So we'll have to create that mind or drop deep, deep, deep into a space within ourselves, which is so pure, so peaceful, and and so much in harmony. Visiting that space within ourselves is a tirtha. Then you'll say, how do we visit that? What is the route or the vehicle to reach that place? Our breath. For bringing your awareness to your breath and following the path of the prana, you will be led to that space deep within yourself. Uh, uh, Avdesh Bhai would know there are these practices of vipassana, where in the Buddhist practice of vipassana, in observing yourself for 10 days in silence, you arrive into those spaces in your own mind. But you need to know how to arrive there. Just as if you need to have a certain vehicle to arrive to a tirth outside, there has to be a method to arrive into that space within. But the simplest method is only to follow your breath, relax, 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 and surrender yourself at the feet of the Lord. We don't know enough. We only know that He knows. So to that, to surrender and feel the presence of the Divine One, you arrive into that tirth. Believe that you're arrived into that tirth.
Thank you so much, sir. Wonderful.
Before I come to Dr. Rajchandra, just one line. Pawan, I had introduced you to our group as, when I think of Pawan, the two words that come to my mind are sweetness and love. You have more than demonstrated that. So, Dr. Jhaji, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
पवन जी, पहले तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद for a wonderful and evening that we all had together. We were simply transported into a different world, I suppose. That's a short comment. Many ways to express it, but then, yes, as Arunji said, it took some time to actually absorb and let the thing sink in before I could clap. So I did it after a few moments. So by Alec Padamsi's standards, this was a very successful session. That's one way of putting it. I had one personal question. Do's and don'ts. I think we were brought up from our childhood. We were brought up in a milieu when these things were in simple terms, not in the terms that you said and the meanings that you conveyed to us. To follow this when these are good, these are bad. Avoid this, do this. The problem at this age is I have been doing some service, not as an atonement for anything that I consciously did in this lifetime, but as a matter of habit. This just became a habit. Now, after having done so, after for so many years, now I'm getting having doubts in my mind whether what I did was worth it. Because now the feedbacks have started coming. Somebody come to you, ask for a help, portraying a certain situation where he says that he or she really needed help, and then say 2 months, 3 months, or a year down the line, somebody said, "कह रहे हो तो आपको बेवकूफ बना के ले गया." तो ये थोड़ी देर के लिए जो अपने आप से शिकायत हो जाती है कि somebody made a fool out of me, तो कुछ देर के लिए तो तकलीफ हो जाती है, लेकिन ये परमानेंट नहीं है. दिस इज अ वेरी टेम्पररी ट्रांजिएंट स्टेट ऑफ माइंड कि एक बार किसी ने मुझे फिर बेवकूफ बना लिया. Then at that particular moment I take a decision कि this is the end of it from tomorrow. कोई गरीब नहीं है इस देश में, कोई मदद की जरूरत किसी को नहीं है, सब लोग आते हैं बेवकूफ बन के. Come back home, do your daily course, read something, go to your bed, sleep. Next morning you get up, you have forgotten all about it, go to your place of work and start repeating the same cycle. Now, is there any remedy for those transient moments when you feel that somebody has taken advantage of you, and that short-term resolve not to repeat the mistake, which is not a mistake as such. This is the way the life should be. But then for certain moments you feel कि नहीं साहब बहुत हो गया, अब no more, अब और नहीं. तो इसका समाधान कैसे, मतलब आपके इसमें बहुत अच्छा लगा. बहुत सी चीजों को एक नए पर्सपेक्टिव में देखने का मौका मिला, और अब पश्चाताप यहाँ आ रहा है कि हम लोग और पहले क्यों नहीं मिले और एक दूसरे से और बात क्यों नहीं करते हैं. समय आपके पास भी कम होगा, मेरा पेशा कुछ है. जितनी देर हम लोग सेशन में है, देयर आर सो मेनी मिस्ड कॉल्स जो मैं अटेंड कर लूंगा आफ्टर दिस सेशन. लेकिन उस जो दुख कहें कि नहीं, लेकिन थोड़ा सा तो होता है कि बेवकूफ आज फिर बन गया, और कल फिर मैं बेवकूफ बनने के लिए सज धज के तैयार होके जाता हूँ. इसका क्या समाधान?
सर, इसमें दो चीजें हैं. एक तो ये है कि दिस इज द वे ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. एक बहुत अच्छी पोएट्री है, वो कुछ इट इज समवट लाइक that there is darkness and there is a storm. The candles that you will light will be blown away, but light a candle anyway. There are bad people, they will do this, that, but do good anyway. People will forget you and all of that. They will still make a fool of you, but still do your bit anyway. Like that, there is a very beautiful poem. So short term में तो ये समझना है. उसके थोड़े गहरे जाएंगे तो आपको जहां पर लगा बेवकूफ बना दिया, वहां आपको ये लगेगा जैसे प्लेटफॉर्म चेंज कर लेंगे, उस प्लेटफॉर्म से लगेगा कि वो देखो कितना गहरा वो अंधेरे में है, कि वो उसकी समझ बस इतनी तक ही जा रही है. आपको उससे कंपैशन हो जाएगा. एंड दैट एग्जैक्टली इज द प्रॉब्लम जो आप कर रहे हैं. You are not only helping people, but you are also sitting there as an example. There should not be only one Dr. Rajchandra Jhaji. Looking at you, there should be 100 or 1,000. We need 1,000,000 people acting like you. You're sitting out there as an example, because that is the problem, that people are suffering, and then they behave like that. They behave like a thief. They think they have got something, but they're continuing to suffer. तो दिल से और करुणा आएगी. और तुरंत इसमें जो पॉइंट नंबर 3 था, क्षमा, इंस्टेंट क्षमा. या देवी सर्वभूतेषु क्षमा रूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै. एक तो वो हो गया. इससे भी ऊपर जैसे प्लेटफॉर्म जाएगा, जब हमने आत्मज्ञान की बात करी, तो वहां पर आप डूअरशिप ही गिरा देंगे, तो आप करने वाले ही नहीं है. तो आप भगवान के बांसुरी हैं, सूखे बांस, आपको वो बजा रहे हैं. अब उसको भैंस सुने, सुअर सुने, इंसान सुने, भगवान जाने. मैं तो मुझे बजा रहे हैं, मैं बजता हूँ. जिस दिन वो बजाना बंद कर देंगे तो मेरे पास कोई आएगा भी तभी मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाऊंगा. तो वहां जाकर के एकदम टोटली फ्री हो जाएंगे. तो लोग आपको कह देंगे कि देखिए फिर आज आपको बेवकूफ बना दिया, तो आप हंस देंगे. लेकिन इन तीनों पर किस प्लेटफॉर्म पे आप हैं, आप किसी भी प्लेटफॉर्म पे हो सकते हैं, फट एस्केलेटर लेके नेक्स्ट, फट एस्केलेटर लेके नेक्स्ट, ये सारे स्पेसेस आपके अंदर में ही हैं, ये सारे मल्टीवर्सेस में आप जी रहे हैं। बस जहां पहुंच गए तो आप तो खुद ट्रांजिट करते ही रहते हैं, अगले दिन फिर सुबह बैठ जाते हैं, लेकिन वो नैरेटिव को चेंज करना पड़ेगा कि मैं बेवकूफ बनने के लिए बैठा हूं, नहीं मैं फिर से दिया जलाने के लिए बैठा हूं, कोई फूंक गया उसको कल रात।
यहाँ एक सवाल रह गया इसमें, क्यों मैंने ये प्रश्न किया। मैं तो एज अ मैटर ऑफ हैबिट, या अब इसका ये कहें बोलचाल की भाषा में, कि मैं इसका गुलाम हो गया हूं, जो मेरा बिहेवियर पैटर्न है। मेरी चिंता एक दूसरे स्तर पे है कि अगर इस तरह के जो वारदातें, इस तरह की घटनाएं ज्यादा फ्रीक्वेंटली हों, तो कुछ ऐसे भी लोग होंगे जो पहला, दूसरा, तीसरा इस तरह का काम कर रहे हैं किसी को मदद करने का। उसमें से कुछ लोग ऐसे हो सकते हैं कि पहली चोट उनको लगेगी, उसके बाद ही वो निर्णय ले लें कि नहीं, दिस इज नॉट वर्थ डूइंग। मेरी चिंता उस स्तर पे है।
जी जी जी,
ये मेरी चिंता थी,
लेकिन
इसीलिए मैंने ये सवाल को रखा। एंड आपने मेरे क्वेरीज का बहुत ही विद्वतापूर्ण और इतना प्रेम पूर्वक उसका जवाब दिया, that again has made my evening.
नहीं, और
I'm
आप
in a
देखिए
state
सर
of bliss.
और
Thank
देखिए
you
कि
very much. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
गालिब का ये शेर है कि वो चिरागों को सिखाता है उजाले का हुनर और फिर रातों को जलने की सजा देता है। तो आप वो चिराग हैं और आपको जलने की सजा मिली हुई है।
ईश्वर की
डॉक्टर झा,
कृपा,
हम लोग
ईश्वर की कृपा।
सो मैं आउट ऑफ टर्न बोल रहा हूँ सर
There is
यहाँ
a
पर,
new
बट
Ashutosh.
डॉक्टर झा आप
Ashutosh,
जी
Ashutosh, there's a new person I can see, Priya. So earlier the other lady had introduced herself. Can you ask Priya to unmute and maybe ask her about her reactions? We have not heard her before.
Sure. 1 second I'll take, sir. Just allow me 10 seconds. 1 second is wrong. डॉक्टर झा ने अभी जो कहा उस पर मुझे वो एक सुदर्शन की कहानी याद आई, हार की जीत। उसकी अंतिम कहानी, उसकी अंतिम लाइन यही थी सर, जो आपने कहा डॉक्टर झा, जो आपका एप्रीहेंशन था वही चीज है उस कहानी की अंतिम लाइन, कि किसी से इस घटना का जिक्र न करना, नहीं तो लोग गरीबों पे विश्वास करना छोड़ देंगे। बिल्कुल सही, बिल्कुल सही थी। सॉरी,
बाबा भारती और उनका घोड़ा, ये
जी, हार
कहानी
की
तो
जीत कहानी का शीर्षक था जी, बाबा भारती और
हार
उनका
की
घोड़ा
जीत।
जी।
यस यस।
सो अरविंद झा जी ने भी हैंड रेज किया हुआ है सर, और प्रिया को आपने कहा है कि रिएक्ट करने को, तो अरुण सर आप, all is in your court, you can ask any of them to speak.
So if I'm audible, Priya, would you kindly unmute yourself and put the on the video, and maybe we can hear a few words about from you. Not to say that I am not thankful for your joining. I think Pawan and we all are very thankful that you joined. Priya, please take, please. I don't think she's able to get my point. So Arvind, please go ahead, Arvind.
जी धन्यवाद। मिश्रा साहब, आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है, प्रणाम है, क्योंकि आपने बिल्कुल गुरु की तरह से आज एक नई चीज हम लोगों को सिखाई। जीवन में पश्चाताप बहुत होता है, प्रायश्चित्त तक बहुत कम पहुंच पाते हैं हम लोग, लेकिन अब से उस दिशा में भी हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे, ऐसी आपको मैं मराठी में गवाही देता हूँ। कोशिश करेंगे जरूर। दूसरा, वही जो आपने कहा कि माना कि अंधेरा घना है मगर दीप जलाना कहाँ मना है, यही एक जो आपने कोट किया था वो। और ऑब्वियसली बाबा भारती का घोड़ा इज सो एप्ट, जो डॉक्टर झा ने बताया उसके संदर्भ में भी। तो इन चीजों का काफी सरल तरीके से भी बताया हुआ है कई जगह पे, लेकिन वो किस तरह से कनेक्ट करता है इस चीज को, जो जिसको आपने आज काफी गुरु चीज को लेकिन बहुत सरल तरीके से समझाया। और दुर्गा सप्तशती का जो आपने बताया, तो आगे से शायद वो जब हम लोग पढ़ेंगे कि या देवी सर्वभूतेषु क्षमा रूपेण संस्थिता, या क्षुधा रूपेण संस्थिता, या बाकी जो तरह तरह की उसमें है, तो पहले लगता था ये क्षमा क्यों है, तो इस तरह से एक नया आयाम आपने हमारे सामने खोला, इसके लिए आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है। एक बहुत ही बढ़िया ये कार्यक्रम हुआ, जिसमें कि लकीली मैं थोड़ा सा जरूर लेट हुआ, लेकिन आई वाज लकी टू ज्वाइन एंड इट वाज ए टोटल, आई मस्ट से, गेन। एंड बहुत ही अच्छा लगा, और कोशिश करेंगे कि अब इसमें से कुछ अगर अपना पाए तो शायद ये जीवन और शायद अगला जीवन भी, क्योंकि आपने ये भी बताया कि पुराने जीवन की भी चीजें जो है वो हमें आज भी इफेक्ट करती हैं और करती रहेंगी। तो कम से कम पुरानी और इस जीवन के जितने चीजों को, लोड को कम कर सकें, शायद अगला जीवन और बेहतर हो। इस हिसाब से आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है, और आपको बुलाने के लिए जिन्होंने इनिशिएटिव लिया उनको भी बहुत बहुत हमारा प्रणाम है भाई। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
प्रिया जी,
Arvind,
शायद अब
yeah, please. Avdesh, sorry, Ashutosh, is Priya there?
she just
Yes, I'm
responded
here.
on chat. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
please, Priya,
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead.
Yes, sir. I actually have been following Pawanji for many years, and I'm part of the Srikula community. And yeah, always a pleasure to listen to him and to listen to everybody's comments here, and the questions people are asking. It definitely invites a lot of introspection for what Pawanji is talking and what we are understanding from everybody's questions as well. So yeah, these are my two bits here. Was I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, very much. Arun sir, back to you. I think she has finished talking. Priya ji has finished her talk. Arun sir, you are muted in case you are trying to speak.
I'm still traveling. अच्छा, I guess कुछ बातें हैं जो मेरे जो रिएक्शन के रूप में है, या जो कुछ लोगों ने सवाल पूछा था, या फर्स्ट पार्ट में। तो देखो पवन, तुमने एक शब्द इस्तेमाल किया, प्रज्ञा अपराध। जो अपराध हमारी प्रज्ञा से होता है, और बहुत कई बार हम उसके बारे में जानते ही नहीं, कई बार हम उसके बारे में जानते भी नहीं है, लेकिन वो अपराध तो है। What we did, not only that could be अपराध, what we did not do and we should have done, that also is an अपराध। अब सवाल है कि दूसरे वाली बात के बारे में कैसे हम जानेंगे। तो हम लोग जो कहते हैं कि शायद हमें प्रायश्चित की जरूरत शायद न हो, या हमने कोई अपराध नहीं किया, तो वहां तो एक अपराध तुमने बताया ही, what we did not do and we should have done। तो प्रज्ञा अपराध से एक और बात जो तुमने बीच में कही कि तब प्रायश्चित करना चाहिए, तब प्रायश्चित करना चाहिए। तो खैर तुम तो मुझसे काफी ज्ञानी हो, लेकिन बृहस्पति जी के साथ जो एक संवाद हुआ है, तो उनके शिष्य ने कहा कि मुझे कब प्रायश्चित करना चाहिए, तो उसका उत्तर गुरु ने दिया, तुम्हें प्रायश्चित क्यों नहीं करना चाहिए, तुम्हें यह पूछना चाहिए था कि प्रायश्चित क्यों नहीं करना चाहिए, यह पूछना चाहिए था। और इट इज सम काइंड ऑफ अ रेटरिक, क्योंकि प्रायश्चित और पश्चाताप में तो अंतर है। जब तुम प्रायश्चित की बात कर रहे हो, और काफी मेरे हिसाब से सही कह रहे हो कि जब वो चित्त की बात हो रही है, चित्त के संतुलन की बात हो रही है, तो वहां तो आपने अपराध किया हो या न किया हो, आपके अपराध की स्वीकृति हो या न हो, आपके अपराध की अनुभूति हो या न हो, इन सबके बावजूद भी तो प्रायश्चित करना है, क्योंकि यह पश्चाताप चित्त के संतुलन की बात है। तो जब चित्त के संतुलन की बात है, तब तो ये पूछना है कि प्रायश्चित तब करना चाहिए या क्यों या कब करना चाहिए, वो तो सवाल ही नहीं होता है। प्रायश्चित शायद ये बहुत ही नेगेटिव कॉनोटेशन का शब्द है, लेकिन तुमने इतना खूबसूरती से इसको एक्सप्लेन किया है कि अगर उस नेगेटिव कॉनोटेशन को हम लोग अपने मन से आज इस घंटे भर के बाद निकाल लें, तो शायद वही एक बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि हो जाएगी। उसके बाद की जो उपलब्धि है वो ये है कि हम सबको प्रायश्चित करना है, खासकर उन लोगों को जो एक दूसरे हायर लेवल पर, वो हायर लेवल जो भी हो, जाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं या जाने की चेष्टा कर रहे हैं। मुझे लगता है तुम्हारे सेशन के बाद कि हम सबको, उन ऐसे लोगों को तो प्रायश्चित करने की आवश्यकता है ही।
इसीलिए तो सर वो
has Arvind raised his hands or it was for the earlier part?
I
Arvind
think
Jha?
it was
No,
earlier.
I did raise my hand. और वो
Yes,
सिर्फ ये बताने के लिए मैंने कहा कि वो एक कविता है ना कि समर समर शेष है किंतु अकेला दोषी नहीं है व्याध, जो तटस्थ हैं समय लिखेगा उनका भी अपराध।
कभी थे।
तो जो काम नहीं कर रहे हैं लेकिन अगर उनकी ड्यूटी थी कुछ करना और बैठे हुए हैं हजरत, उनका भी अपराध के नाम से उनको संज्ञा दी गई है, उस तटस्थता को भी अपराध की संज्ञा दी गई है। तो मुझे लगता है काफी रिलेवेंट है और उस हिसाब से अरुण भाई ने जो भी कहा तो वो बिल्कुल मैच कर रहा है जो मिश्रा साहब ने बताया था। थैंक यू।
तो चलो पवन, मैं इसी से अंत कर रहा हूँ जिससे मैंने शुरू किया था कि कभी किसी जमाने में तुम्हें मैंने पढ़ाया होगा या बीच बीच में तुमने कुछ कुछ ऐसा तुम कहते हो उससे सीखा होगा, लेकिन आज तो मुझे जो तुमसे सीखने को मिला है कोई उसका जवाब नहीं है। और मैं तुमसे तुम्हारे छात्र के रूप में प्रतिज्ञा करता हूं कि कम से कम 3 चीजें जो अब तक मैं नहीं कर रहा था और तुमने कहा वो तो मैं आज से शुरू कर दूंगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच पवन।
I'm so grateful and I'm feeling so blessed.
You can take it over from here. Yeah, Pawan, go ahead.
That's what I said, that I'm feeling so blessed, sir, that you are present and everybody else together. तो ये learning together की यही बात होती है कि हम मेरे मुंह से बोल रहे थे लेकिन हम सबके माइंड एक साथ थे और सब मिला करके एक स्टफ सामने आया है। और हम ये चाहेंगे कि सब लोग कंटिन्यू करें, सोचना को इसको ऐड और कर दें, एम्बेलिश कर दें अपने फीलिंग्स। और हम सबका ये पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस के डोमेन का ये चीज है, कोई ऋषि महात्मा हमें कहें जरूरी नहीं, हमने तो सिर्फ उसको कोलेट कर दिया एक जगह पे एंड वी कैन एनरिच इट। एंड फिर उसके बाद चालू हो जाता है कि जैसे अरुण सर कह रहे हैं मैं 3 चीज करूंगा, हम लोग सबको करते ही रहना है। तो आर वी क्लोजिंग द नोइंग डूइंग गैप? आज नोइंग हो गई पश्चाताप की, अब वो डूइंग और नोइंग, इल्म और अमल का जो गैप है, अब उसकी जिम्मेदारी हमारे सबके ऊपर में आ गई आज से। तो आई एम सो ग्रेटफुल टू योरसेल्व्स एंड
from all of us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Ashutosh,
so much.
you can stop.
I'll stop recording. Yes, I'll
Yes,
stop
yes.
recording.
Since he has stopped recording.